Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining me, Garthnix, your host, for some more awesome Hell Let Loose competitive action. We have got a banger for you today, and it's the first opening weekend of the European Competitive League, the ECL, and I'm super excited to be bringing you this one. This is a game that I've had the privilege of streaming in the past, or a matchup that I've had the privilege of streaming in the past, albeit that was kind of a friendly or like a scrim. This is now for real part of the ECL, and what a fantastic way, as I say, to open up
Yeah.
this league. We've got What the Hell for you tonight versus
Oh,
STDB, so very much looking forward to this one.
yeah.
In terms of the way the
I think
teams
they just
stack up
need to
over on
find.
Utah Beach, which
Yeah.
you can kind of see
Yeah.
behind me, I hope,
It will be cool
we've
when
got
once it's all
What the
done.
Hell
Set that.
having
That
won
really
both
cool.
of their meetings. They met over on Hurtgen Forest, and they've met also on Samurai Glees, I believe, before that. I streamed the Hurtgen Forest game along with No Connection, and what an
And
absolute savage game. You
Pakistan.
know, What the Hell came away with the win in the end, but STDB did not make it easy for them at all. So, real A tier game that hopefully we'll be able to get stuck into pretty soon. I'm just keeping an eye out for the map flip on the other screen. In terms of how the teams stack up, as I say, 2-0, kind of their history. But What the Hell on Utah has
Keeping up.
actually a
Yeah.
really strong history as well. They've won 6, only lost 1. I'm going by the Hilo website. I think you can put !Hilo in the chat if you want to get the link over to that. If
Oh,
not, then I will get that set up before next time. But I lose track. I've got so many commands. If you want to see all the commands, press
yeah.
or type command. If you want to get over to the Discord for the ECL, type ECL. And yeah, there's literally so many commands. But 6 victories to 1 loss over here on Utah Beach for What the Hell. And they've beaten teams like Core, they've beaten the Line, they've beaten 116 all on this map. So SCDB really have it all to do here. What the Hell playing as the
Yeah.
Germans, which in my opinion, depending on the points, can be like slightly harder on the map. So maybe STDB with a slight
Yeah.
advantage, but themselves with a
I
bit of
think
a
they just
sort of
need to
mixed
find.
record here on Utah Beach.
Yeah.
They've won 6 and lost
It will be
4.
cool when once
The
it's all
ones that
done.
they've
Set
lost
that.
are to some big
That really
names.
cool.
So they've lost to Core twice. They've lost to PHX. They've lost to Goff as well. To ESPT and OC, who were teamed up a while ago. But they won their last game. This is where I was talking about Goff.
Pakistan.
They won their last game against Goff,
Yeah.
actually here at Utah. So I think it should be like a pretty interesting game for us today. And What the Hell, obviously coming straight off the back of a great win yesterday over in the HCA. So type !HCA to get a link to the Discord for that. The Hell Let Loose Competitive
Keeping up. Yeah.
Association. They beat 38 Infantry Division yesterday on the HCA league. And, will that mean they're kind of burnt out, or will they be riding a high from yesterday? Who knows? We'll kind of wait and see. Let's jump on over to the strat sketch, have a little look at the map. As you can see, we've got STDB tonight as the allies and What the Hell as the axis. So we will be following the admin cam of What the Hell. It's their server, so it just kind of makes sense for me to jump in as the kind of admin cam on their side. So we'll be seeing them highlighted in blue, and therefore we will see STDB highlighted in red. But we will have both maps for you this evening, so we'll be able to hopefully see what both teams are up to. That being said, there is a 30-minute delay with all these ECL games and HCA for the moment to stop people from stream sniping. Hopefully we can bring it back down to 15, but I do need to kind of warn everybody that there could be a problem where something's wrong with the stream and it could take up to half an hour, even slightly more, to fix it. And then if we have to go down for whatever reason, there'll be half an hour of nothing before we can get back in, and there's a buffer, so potentially could lose a bunch of. Everything will go smoothly, we hope, I'm sure, but just bear in mind that there is a half an hour delay. So if you notice anything wrong, do type it in the chat. Obviously talk to each other in chat as well, but if you notice something wrong, type it in chat. Hopefully I'll get to see it and be able to sort it out, or maybe I've fixed it already. So do just bear with us tonight. I am the only caster on this game. One of the risks of that is if something goes wrong, it goes really wrong because there's nobody else to watch. But fingers crossed everything goes all right. But do let me know in the chat if there's anything wrong. So that being said, we've got the allies in red, and we've got the axis tonight in blue. What the Hell in blue, and STDB over in red. And here on Utah Beach, we'll just talk about the middle points because I think we're about to start any moment. But before we just talk specifically about any point, any setup, so I'll draw it in orange here or in green to make it clear, but any setup that involves diagonals like this for any of the teams, or if there's like two behind each other and then a diagonal or something like that, whenever there's a diagonal, it's going to make this a heck of a lot harder for whoever has to either defend across that diagonal line or attack across that diagonal line. It just makes everything a lot more tricky. You know, if you get 2 points back to back like this, then they're much easier, whichever way you're looking from. I'm just kind of drawing them in terms of the axis here, but whichever way you're looking at them, if they're back to back, that will make it easier. So it is it does come down to, you know, what the random selection of points is when the map flips. But in terms of the central points, we've got the chapel, which in my opinion, certainly straight away early on in the game favours the Allies. They will be able to push up, probably get something, you know, a garrison built, if not at Hill 5, then even further up and actually even closer, maybe here or maybe behind this little building that you can see in G5, and then push into the back of the chapel and kind of spread out like this into the back of the chapel. And they can do that quicker than the Axis can. You can see that chapel sits well within F column here, bringing it slightly closer, or 1 column closer to the Allies. So they do have that advantage of kind of getting there first, of being able to get inside the point and spread out. They also kind of have a bit of advantage in terms of bringing their tanks up as well, whether that's up north or down south, because they just have a bit more cover. And the Axis are going to want to, if it is the chapel, they're going to want to get onto this side of the stream that you can see here, the Grand Dune, and probably get into these buildings. The map has actually flipped, and I can reveal that it is chapel is the middle point, so this is very pertinent. And particularly as the Allies seem to have Hill 5, and the secondary point is Drow Fields into San Mary approach for the Axis. So the Axis really going to probably want to attack chapel, or at least keep a strong line in the south, because they're going to be very attentive of kind of making this, you know, a blockade basically along this kind of area, because they really don't want you know, their enemies to be able to push straight into that, you know, down the road and into Drown Fields. But then that'll probably open up the north for some flanks as well. And I expect to see House Gangster in full effect. He was playing yesterday against 38, and, you know, absolutely smashing it. So without further ado, we will get into the game. Just give us a moment here. Get ourselves spawned in and then take a look at the map from up in the sky. As I said before, we will have both maps tonight. However, we won't have a squad leader spot, so what that does mean is that we won't be able to see markers, and I shan't be doing any pings, because, you know, I don't want to be kind of alerting anyone to what might be going on at those the location of those pings, but we will have both the maps.
It will be cool once it's all done.
Let's get us into the game here, and you can see now the map. As I said before, we've got What the Hell over here in blue on the left, and we're going to have STDB over themselves in blue. Where are we? Over on this side of their map, on the right hand map. And we can kind of see how both teams are dispersing themselves. SCDB, they are sending the recon tank with a full tank crew and a recon squad leader, as well as a rocketeer down to the south here. So I suspect the rocketeer might be going to try and get some shots on the artillery, the What the Hell artillery. We've got Logical Lee commanding tonight for SCDB. Shout out Logical Lee. A previous guest of the stream. I think we've got Heidi on the other team as well, which is awesome. But then we've got their transport trucks. Let me just zoom in so I can actually see what's going on with it. Transport trucks with squad leaders. We've got a solo tank up here to the north, which suggests potential for tank shots to be fired at the artillery. From the other side, we've got... Hello, Torfisk. We've got Torfisk sitting on top of a tank here, but probably, I'd imagine we're going to see also some plays, some kind of plays against the artillery from what the hell. Oops, let's get back into the game. Forgetting my commands here. But below us you can see Chapel, and when I was talking about the route that the Germans are going to want to probably approach earlier, that's going to be on the north side of this stream that we can see kind of along this hedgerow, whereas we're going to obviously see the Allies, as we see them driving up here, getting there much quicker. You can already see their advantage in terms of speed. Like there's the German transport trucks over there, much faster. But we'll probably see what the hell artillery land at any moment, I would have thought, and try and take out some of these trucks or some of these Allies who are pushing into the back of the Chapel. But for the moment, the guns are quiet, and they've not actually got anybody firing any artillery at all at the moment, which is very unusual. Oh, hello. Okay, so we've got the Stuart below us here firing at, I guess, the transport truck, or one of the transport trucks that's just pulled up, but not in time to stop a bunch of what the hell players jumping out. They are going, so you can see here, despite what I've just said, they haven't driven right up and gone to the north of that stream. That's quite possibly because of what we talked about before, where Drownfields has got this, you know, is the next point, and they want to set themselves up in between the 2 points. They don't want to, oh no, it's Chronic commanding tonight. So they don't want to be set, you know, caught out of position, like with a big flank, and just allow the Allies to walk in. This is something we're going to be seeing a lot of, I suspect, tonight, which is probably, I don't know whether we could call it the new meta exactly, but in this update, as of the most recent update, we have this thing where the recon squad leaders, so the sniper squad leaders, have a flare that they can fire up in the sky, and obviously that is what we're seeing on the map here, this kind of circle, and it actually identifies enemy players, and as you can see, vehicles here, these two tanks marks, these are the ones below us. It identifies them on the map as kind of a UAV, so I think what the hell, from having, you know, seen them play before and from what I've heard, they're going to be probably leaning on this quite hard, using, instead of using their recon plane to kind of fly, we have seen a recon plane actually here, but instead of primarily using the recon plane to fly over and take snapshots and try and highlight where the enemies are, we're going to see them using the flares a lot more in that regard. We can see they've got quite a few garrisons kind of set up now, and very sensibly they've got them set up along this stream, as you can see down in D column. And what that's going to mean is that any enemies who, once the Chapel is taken, and it's probably a bit inevitable that the Allies, with the advantages that they do have in getting there quicker, as we see here, hopefully I've got my teams correct on my no, I'm just pressing every other button. Boom, there you go. Good stuff, we got there in the end. SCDB with the first capture and already starting to take the next sector as well. Let's jump over into looking at their map and you'll see exactly why. They've already got Frank over here in C8 in the supply truck, and has already dropped off Altimer, who's inside Drownfields now. And if we jump back into the kind of main game screen, we can see Rhinout, Chronic, Wapajama all having to run back over here and kind of deal with this issue that they've got here with Altimer, who's just waiting inside Drownfields. Only an assault player, Altimer here, but nevertheless able to cause some capping pressure on this secondary point, and to cause what the hell to kind of think again, to get some people back. And of course, what we were looking at over here is the supply truck for the Allies, as we also have a German supply truck driving in. The supply truck for the Allies has actually built a garrison. If we look at the map here, you can see SCDB already with such an advanced and very, very offensive garrison here over in C8. And will they simply wait their chance, redeploy everybody, put the reinforce in here and just jump into Drownfields immediately? Quite possibly. We'll have to kind of wait and see on that one, but it's very, very aggressive play immediately straight out the gate here from SCDB. 1 hour 22 remaining in the game, and already they've been troubling that secondary point. But we can see what the hell have lined all of their players out in this kind of critical area we were talking about before. They've got tank support here with the Panzer moving up. We'll go and follow that. Attila riding the back of it. We've got Godfellow, we've got Reform Gamer and Euronymous. Shout out to Reform Gamer. And you can see from this southern angle, it's actually quite difficult, and this is why I was saying about going north of the river there. There's quite a lot of open space, there's quite a lot of difficult areas to actually traverse for Germans who are advancing onto the chapel. The Allies over there, the USA, they have a lot of shots over here into this field, and it kind of locks off this whole area for the Germans and makes it really hard. And okay, the Germans have the tank support, and you can see they've also still got their Lux in the game for the moment, over in front of us by this kind of coppice of trees. I was trying to think of the word then. But really, if they're going to want to attack this point, they need to get to the north of it. We see Star-Lord here. Shout out Star-Lord. We see Oscar, Harris, etc. pushing this farm building. And if we look on the map, the farm building is here in E4, just where I'm indicating, and it's really vital to be able to capture that for the Germans, to be able to get into the chapel from a much more kind of approachable angle. Absolute savagery here from the Lux, but they're just trying to recycle that tank and go back to get the Panther, because despite the Allies having some advantages on this map overall in the game at the moment, the Germans certainly with an advantage, be that with their individual infantry loadouts, be that with their tanks, which now have the Panther as a heavy tank returned to the game, which is a very, very strong piece of equipment. They do have kind of an overall advantage, it's fair to say. But on this map, their advantage versus the Allies' map advantage, and especially now with this setup of the points being diagonal like this, it's very, very interesting. We can see the Samarri approach, garrison is actually hot. We'll go check that out in a minute. But you can see that they're wanting to get where Duba, Fruntan are to the north and push the chapel from the north, because that's going to be definitely their best route of approach. However, that being said, there's a whole ton of SCDB players still inside the chapel, and they are playing well here, although now with tank support, and this is the Panther we were just talking about, alongside the Panzer IV on the right hand side, pushing into the chapel, going to be probably causing quite a few problems. That is an issue. Now we've lost game sound. Very, very unfortunate. Let's zip over here for now, but we may have to restart the game here because this is a bug, unfortunately, with the game. I'm just very interested to see what's going on with this garrison, because the SCDB garrison over here in C8 is right now proxied and spawn blocked, but it was there causing some problems for a little while. It's interesting that they haven't been kind of more decisive with redeploying people over there, and I'm a bit interested by this F7 garrison. This one makes more sense, E7, that's allowing them to kind of push onto drown fields. This one maybe just giving them some more options. This is over by what they call Grandma's house, just to the north of WN7, which is this point down here that we don't see highlighted. But certainly, you know, an interesting lack of players over in that area. They are now dropping their bombing run in support. We can't hear it because the game sound is bugged, but we'll get over there. I might have just missed it. It's hard to... Oh, excuse me for the scenes here. I'm used to my other controls. It is a bit hard to follow. What we might do is just watch the other map real quick, and I will restart my main copy of Hell Let Loose. And that will hopefully allow us to get our sounds back, because I think you'll agree it's nothing without the sound of explosions and hell being let loose, as it were. But looking at the Allied map here, the SCDB map, you can see that they know about that northern approach. They're dropping supplies now in G3. They're looking to sort of get control of that area. The only thing to say there, though, is that E3, F3, E4, F4, those four squares, they really don't have apart from area control and trying to cut off the enemies, from being able to flank from the north there, they don't really have any strategic value because they're not providing any capture power or any defensive power onto the chapel itself. So I would think that what STDB will be looking to do is make sure to, obviously they have to accept that they're going to have a whole bunch of enemies down here in E5 and 6, in F6. Game's restarting. They will have a lot of enemies down in this area, and they kind of have to accept that. But all of the people, the what the hell players who are attacking from the north here, they're going to be wanting to keep them, if they can, into 4 line, because that's going to stop them from actually being able to provide any kind of useful capping power for what the hell on the chapel. And at the moment we do see SCDB succeeding in their defence, although again they've had to sort of give up a little bit on attacking drowned fields for the moment, although I suspect that will change. I see who's this Candyman down here in E8 looking to get around with a flank, but on foot at the moment, so going to take a little bit of time. We'll try and get ourselves back into the server here. Can't remember my password. Thank you, by the way, for joining this evening, and thanks to all the people who've followed. I can see some people followed already. Obviously, I can't really kind of interact very easily as we go along because of the 30-minute delay, but, all the support, be that follows, subs, tips, exclamation mark tip in the chat if you don't want to give Jeff Bezos a cut, all very, very much appreciated. And, we're able to bring you this kind of level of coverage simply because of the people who've been able to support the stream and kind of support my casting, be that financially or just with kind words or feedback or helpful tips. We can see Starlord down there, obviously House Gangsters in the game. He's the guy that got me into doing it in the first place. So yeah, massive shout out to everybody who's helped supporting the stream. And as you can maybe hear now, we have got game audio back. Have we got the game though? Not yet. Okay, here we go. When you watch TV, you don't realise they have a team of producers and many fail safes. Unfortunately, here on Twitch with Streamlabs, we really only just have me, ourselves as casters, and some slightly temperamental software, but we do our best in trying conditions. But we can see here that SCDB holding the chapel well. I'm very curious though as to what's going on in terms of the artillery attack slash defending the artillery. I've not seen too much going on in terms of artillery over here for what the hell at the moment, and I don't know if that means that they're getting blown up all the time. On the other map, if we have a quick look as we hear the recon plane going over for what the hell there, you can see that all of the artillery are all full over on the SCDB side. So we'll go and have a look at some of the artillery. This is one of the disadvantages in some ways that the Allies have here, is having their artillery and their HQ spawns on the beach, because if you get pushed back and you're being denied your spawns on the beach, it's so hard. It's such an open approach. You just get pinned down, and that can be all for your own, as it were. Not seeing any explosions landing here on the STDB artillery. We've got Moldo, we've got Jehovah, Knast Kuchen, is it Kuchen? Over here on the artillery, as Amazing and Ghost Kids spawn in to run over to the 76 on the left of the screen here. Raphael, the squad leader. But yeah, not a surprising lack of explosions going on down here at the SCDB artillery. I would have thought, knowing what the hell, that they probably either had a tank sniper lined up, or a rocket. What a great shot. Okay, I take it all back. Yesterday I was saying that this new meta of firing Panzer Shreks, which is again another advantage in the game that the Germans have. I was saying that firing Panzer Shreks has kind of not been that successful in the games that I've watched where people have tried it, but 2 decent hits there. Nast is now having to run back to the gun, got a spawn point a little bit of away from the gun, which is kind of also important now because those Panzer Shreks can also destroy OPs, of course. But Moldo didn't seem to actually get hurt, despite what looked like a pretty good hit. See that weird rendering there? Yeah, it happens every time. Look, they're like dragging it in like it's a bunch of cloth. Bizarre. But yeah, really only one rocket now, and already Nast is back on the gun. So, oh, and here comes the other rocket to take him off. Just as we say that, the curse of the commentator kicks in with a vengeance. Who's this getting rocketed in a tank over here? I heard a ricochet. I don't see the tank. Maybe it's all in the smoke. So many grenades and artillery landing too. That looks like artillery smoke also, perhaps. I believe that we are looking for an allied tank over here. Maybe it's not over here. I can see there is a Stuart just here. Olu, a squad leader, placing their OP just there as well. We've got Maki as the squad leader here in the Stuart, with Kyo Kona and Nanorisk for STDB, firing their HE onto that farmhouse that we were talking about before, which is so important. Olu with shots now on TLA or Talar, and Fruntan having to go really wide to look for that flank. Squad leader though, Fruntan, so able to place an OP when they get there, as long as they're not too deep in enemy territory. Raw, destroyed. But where Harris and Heidi have just spawned in over at this German outpost that we can see behind the building here, this is a really critical place for the Germans to have captured and to have taken control of, although as we can see they are under some degree of artillery and with tank support from that Stuart as well. Oh my god, the sound's gone again, guys. What a rip. Okay, so we'll just keep going for now because Chapel is being captured, although not particularly strongly. If we kind of look at the map here, you can see that actually there's quite a few German players amassed in these other squares of the sector, and when you're inside the hard cap, this black circle, you obviously get more capture power than if you're outside. I think it's 3 times capture power. Anybody inside has 3 times the capture power of anybody outside, or it was at my last test anyway, which, albeit, you know, have to be honest, was some time ago now. They get 3 times the capture power, but look how small it is. You know, if you actually, this is probably a bad example here on Drownfields because that's also really, really small. But some of them are much, much bigger. You know, WN7 down here is like half the point. So it's quite difficult to get all of your players within this circle. And so actually a lot of the capture power can be provided by the Germans here just by being in these 3 squares, because they're just counting for 1. But 1 is enough if there's, you know, too few people from the Allies here inside that circle. But again, with a really, really difficult push from the south side of the chapel here, what the hell, kind of getting held up a little bit in these buildings. But to be honest, with 1 hour and 8 minutes remaining, being held up in these buildings is not too bad. They've got tank support here. I see Attila doing me a favour by kind of pointing out the tank here. The Panther driving below us. I missed that. Who have we got in here? Got Reformed again, Godfellow and Euronymous in that Panther. I'm tempted to restart the game again here because it just does my head in not being able to hear the sounds, and it's probably the same for you. So we will jump again quickly into the Allied map here while hopefully I restart it, although if it doesn't work out this time, we may just have to suck it up because I don't think I can restart it like, you know, every 2 minutes for the entire hour and a half, if that's how long the game goes on. But once my game has stopped here, I will get us back in as soon as possible. We can see, though, that the chapel is just starting to fall. So what that means is obviously that the Germans are, you know, we saw that kind of amassment, I don't know if that's a word, but that congregation of German troops down here in E5, E6 and in F6 pushing through these buildings. They've got tank support with them as well and pushing into the chapel now, hopefully for them pretty effectively, although hopefully for us they take their just a couple minutes, we get a contest so we can get back in the game and get good eyes on it. SCDB feeling a little bit the pressure here though, it seems, as they're putting their reinforce onto the chapel, giving extra capture power to anybody who is inside that circle. Let's get us back into the game here nice and quickly. Hopefully I can remember my password straight away this time. I don't have to look it up. If my server list ever comes through. the game of Hell Let Loose very, very choppy, unfortunately, ever since this last update. In my experience, I had to reinstall Windows completely, which was really a problem, because I lost so much stuff. It took me literally, I don't know, 200 hours probably to set everything up for the various different streams that I do, and having to redo that again was not a lot of fun, I can tell you. And all like in the evenings, in the weekdays kind of thing, because I'm trying to get ready for a weekend, you know, when we start streaming or whatever. So pretty irritating, but hopefully we can get back into the game any moment. Get ourselves up in the sky again, and again with the registering the game. Here we go. So flying above Chapel again now. You're seeing What the Hell still in blue and SCDB in red over here. That's just my squad pinging things for me. Thank you, Duba. But plenty of SCDB players to the north of Chapel. But the problem with that is, as we've mentioned before, are they actually inside that sector? And as we see a bunch of Germans pushing in with tank support as well, we've got a Panzer IV moving up also with Sich, Alexei, Valde, all pushing the front of the point here. And I'm not sure, maybe this is the What the Hell, no, still not What the Hell artillery. We've definitely got to go and check what the heck's going on with that. I'm guessing that it's been shot by a tank, to be honest with you, although SCDB also have their recons, or at least one recon squad moved up to tackle the artillery. But it's not enough. What the Hell with the capture here. And that's good to see from them. 1 hour 5 in the game, and we've definitely got a game on our hands now. SCDB with the Allies definitely have an easier setup with Hill 5 as the next point. Chapel as the middle, but What the Hell have kind of done, if they can hold on to this, that is, as STDB start to recap it on a counter-attack. But if What the Hell can hold on to the Chapel, then their hardest work in a way is done, because it's this diagonal push down to Drownfield, can't get my words out now, that's really the kind of danger for them, and it's what they're going to want to be you know, preventing, is to get pushed back to that same situation where they have a long diagonal like that to defend. But they need to get up into Chapel. It was contested then just for a second, as they're still kind of moving in, firing their flares up as we speak. Looking for, we've got supplies over here in H7, and I'm looking for the logistics crew over here on What the Hell, because I seriously suspect that House Gangster is going to be looking to place some red zone garrisons any moment, really. Let's go. I don't want to miss this counterattack, because it looks like it's not just a soft cap here by SCDB. There's a lot of red berries in that area, and a good spawn point for them over there too, with some cover and nice artillery support, it looks like here. Although maybe actually that's What the Hell artillery falling into the route by which the What the Hell infantry are approaching. Absolutely explosive here. That's artillery blowing up next to the tank. You can tell by the big cloud of dust that goes up that they are under fire here from anti-tank players. You can see Daspien with the gun to the left of the screen here, and what a crazy place for an AT gun. Almost very effective, but Star-Lord, it seems, with the one tap to take out that threat. And that's big, because it's going to allow that tank to remain in support along with Reformed and crew over in the Panther below us to help with that push. And What the Hell are recapping, and this is where they're going to be looking to get a flank on. It's interesting to see how many SCDB players are in this kind of this hinterland, I suppose you call it, like the interim kind of area, like between Drownfields and the Chapel. You can see that that's like the remnants of their attack, but if they had managed on the counter-attack just then to take it back, that could have been really important for them to have a bunch of players there. I just saw one of these What the Hell guys die over here, and I'm not quite sure what it is that's killing them all. I suspect, and we'll get our no clip on to go inside this bunker, but I suspect that they've got a... Oh, he says, and then doesn't put it on. Ah, here it is. Okay, so there's their OP. I thought it was built inside this bunker or something. Not sure if you can even do that. But trying to just defend it from those rocket attacks. Frank over there looks like to be in a fight with Doodlebugs, but I'm not sure how the other... Oh, I don't know if that was just... I think that just blew up because of a timer. I don't think anything hit it. But I'm very curious as to why there's not more what the hell artillery going on right now. Just got to keep an eye out for these flanking players. Up here we've got Jockey, we've got Froomtan as squad leaders over here in H5. Hopefully they can just kick me out of the squad if they need the spaces, because I'm in, seems like their attacking squad, which is a bit unfortunate. Should have joined Frazzle maybe. See a tank dead over that way. But let's get ourselves back above Chapel, because it looks like, for now at least, SCDB have been pushed off the point there, and didn't see who that was. They just got absolutely decimated by that artillery shell. But Hill 5 now, and you can see where their garrison is. SCDB spawning a whole bunch of people in there. Let's have a look at their map, and that's the garrison we were just seeing in the middle of Hill 5 over in G5. But they do have some able to kind of push the south of the map here, down in G column, and another one right up here in G3, trying to push through again for them now, locking down these buildings in F4, pushing the chapel from the north, and then pushing along the ditch from Hill 5 is going to be their kind of most likely, probably most likely successful route of approach. Obviously they could come in from the south here, but as we've seen with What the Hell trying to get in from the south, really, you know, it's not that easy. If we look at both maps together, there's still a fair What the Hell presence down here in E and F6, so any push from the south is going to need to be a really wide flank as well. What the Hell do have this F3 garrison as well, which is relatively close to the G3 garrison of STDB, which, you know, could be important to stop STDB from getting through, or at least highlighting when they're trying to. And we saw the OPs here for Charlie and Baker squad heating up, and that's probably this supply truck with Christian in it, or maybe Olu or Sanitota over here kind of pushing into that H4 corner. So we'll jump over to there and have a look what's going on in that area, because I think that this could be pretty important for how the game plays out. And you can see Heidi just spawning in now on Olu, but that might be enough to take out both OPs, and it was Olu with a big play there. Unfortunately, we just kind of caught the end of it, but managing to take out those flanking OPs, and I reckon that they probably wouldn't have lasted much longer anyway. As you can see, Bite Force, Chronix, Raphael, Johannes, Sanitota down here in the kind of buildings between that farmyard and Hill 5, you know, getting in the way of What the Hell. But for now, 58 minutes left in the game, What the Hell have a convincing control, as we can see, of the middle point here at Chapel on Utah Beach in our wicked opening game here for ECL. Type !ECL. Oh, I saw in the the chat that somebody said about Omaha. I was like, God, I haven't typed everything wrong, but no, Sam Wright says we have typed Utah correctly, so thank goodness for that. But yeah, what a wicked game we've got here, opening ECL. SCDB, What the Hell, always going to be a good one. SCDB, you can type !SCDB in chat for information about them, and of course !What the Hell as well in chat for information about them too. So do make the most of my commands, my !commands, because I've got tons of them. You know, whether you want the ECL, !ECL, if you want HCA, if you are wondering about HCA. Ooh. Whose rocket was that? You can type !command, and you will see all of the commands that we've got for the channel here, and there are a bunch. Still doing well here though on the artillery, despite these rocket attacks. SCDB sticking at it with the RT, and themselves maybe trying to get some kind of snipes going, although I doubt it's that one. Could have been this AT gun potentially. Let's have a little look over this way. They did, and we could see actually here, yeah. So they did have some snipes, I think, or some intended snipes set up here. This is a kind of a known spot on top of this bunker here, but it looks like What the Hell successfully countering that. Not sure where their sort of counter AT gun is, somewhere around, but it will almost certainly be an AT gun that they've used to counter that. Let's nip over here to Hill 5 again then, and seeing the rockets flying now. Deadly accurate, very, very good rocket plays here. Was that Mevans who just fired that one? Whoever that was a great rocket to take out somebody off of the artillery. And certainly, you know, this is what we're seeing. This is like the future. We've had tank snipes and we've had AT guns to do counter sniping on the tank snipes, and now we've got, you know, the rockets. Although maybe the rockets actually came first, but because that was like the 2021 full seasonal, I think, Core were doing rockets. Maybe people were doing it even before that, I'm not sure, but they kind of haven't been meta until now. And we can see here, this is the reason, because below us in red, you just saw the flare, and this is why. So all of these teams, they kind of need to get with the program a little bit, and we can actually see if we look at both maps, STDB not going with this approach. You can see Frank and Klishine here, Klishny, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, both the recon squads over in A and B columns, and they're not embracing that meta, that new technique of firing the flares continually, just as like a constant UAV highlighting for your team where enemy players are. And I don't know, I haven't seen any yet, but we have seen it in the past where teams are using this new ammo drop ability as well, to continually resupply their recon squad leaders, kind of keep them stocked up, as it were, with the flares, so they can keep on shooting them, keep that information coming in. People talking about showing Klong Pong. I don't know where Klong Pong is specifically, so it could be difficult, but we'll certainly give them a shout out if we see them. See more rockets. Oh no, that's a flare firing up in the air over there, and that's another What the Hell flare that we can see over here in the kind of GF line. And it all just comes down to this highlighting. They're trying to get around and highlight. House Gangster now with the garrison built over on those supplies that we were talking about before over in H7. We'll try and catch up with House in a minute. Just for now, we'll stay over Hill 5 because it looks like we've got a What the Hell push coming in. Let me say, whilst we're here, a massive thank you as well to the organisers of ECL for putting in all the massive amount of effort behind the scenes to get this up and running. To organise any of these tournaments is really, really, you know, a massive endeavour. Really, really difficult. A lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff to sort out. And they've done a fantastic job here to bring you some really great games and some fantastic Hell Let Loose competitive content. And thanks for letting me come on and cast, of course, and thank you, the audience, for joining me too. But a big shout out, first and foremost, it has to be said, to the organisers, but also the players as well. See people bemoaning the 30-minute delay. Unfortunately, yes, it is a pain in the backside for everybody. 15 minutes is kind of bad enough, but 30 is just... it's painful. but you can talk to each other. And please do. We see Kaiju now supported by smoke artillery and regular artillery, it seems. Although that could be SCDB artillery as well that we just saw, almost taking out Sunny. These explosions below us, I believe, are the SCDB, and then that's what the hell that we just saw there. And Bofrost now the only person up inside the point here for SCDB. This is big plays. Kaiju goes down. German hears the shot. Bofrost might be the next to bite the bullet, but it's allowing Decent Trebe enough time to spawn in. But he goes down. German could push the OP here, but hasn't got the opportunity just yet. Maybe doesn't realise it's there. Do they have a nade? Oh, big artillery here, and I think that's the what the hell artillery landing. It can't take out those OPs, or hasn't yet. I forget if it actually can. But this, as you see, again, that flare lighting up the whole thing, indicating for those what the hell players pushing exactly where the enemies are. We see the SCDB garrison just here, and okay, so that's what he was doing. So a nice satchel inside the point there. When we saw German crouching down in the ditch, it was because he was placing the satchel. And a pretty big explosion with tank support. They've also got artillery obviously falling, although they've actually come off the artillery now because who is it? Frank on the other team has managed to kind of free up the artillery. And this is the thing, you know, we talked earlier about those rocket shots and how effective they looked like they were being on the STDB artillery, but if you're missing them over and over, it can be hard to kind of tell how to correct it and how to make it better, because you can't see where it's landing. And so the good old fashioned scheme of having, this is the what the hell bombing run, as we can see here. And also we're going to see the Stuka come in a second. That's probably going to take out a whole bunch of these players here. Ooh, and the garrison gone from the Stuka. Good stuff. But yeah, as I say, if you're struggling with the rockets, nothing beats sending the recon to go and take out the artillery, or at least a person on foot who can actually see whether they're managing and doing a good job. Star-Lord, the recon squad leader, who we've been seeing very effective with the flares, goes down inside the point to Big L, but it kind of doesn't matter because Star-Lord will just come back with more flares, get those fired up in the air. And go check out Star-Lord's all Star-Lord's books, literally like a author with like half a dozen novels. Some of them based around Hell Let Loose, a lot of them based around war, albeit in space. Great stuff. He asked me to do the audiobook, and I've been completely terrible at doing it. That was like a year ago, so I owe Star-Lord big time at this point. I just did the whole thing practically, and then realised that you could hear the PC fan sound throughout the entire recording. Oh, SCDB getting absolutely destroyed here by the Panther to the left of the screen. Another Panther circling over there by German as Sunny, Kugu, Orbit all spawn in, and that nice OP that's pushed right up. And SCDB really struggling here at Hill 5 to stay in it from a decent coordinated push from what the hell, although that artillery helps. Torfisk goes down to somebody, not sure who. Big ups to Torfisk, one of my LKG brethren, along with Mr. House Gangster. You can see SCDB kind of forced out of the point now, but with decent spawns to the north, they are able to stay in it. And we can see, if we look at their map up here in G column, like G5, they've got the garrison in those farm buildings along with Charlie outpost, Jig outpost, but they need to kind of secure this ditch area behind as well and get themselves moved up, although they're getting flanked pretty effectively right now by what the hell. You know, they're moving into the point, they are capturing, they've got tanks on either side. Another flare goes up, another flare goes up here for what the hell. Really nice stuff. People complaining about just watching the map only, but trust me, I'd rather have the sound when we do get the admin cam up, so hopefully they bear with it. This has been a kind of change in a lot of the way that tanks are played in recent times as well, largely due to the line, I believe, where we see engineers travelling around with the tanks, able to kind of build their supplies there. Another satchel goes out on the middle of Hill 5, but able to build repair stations for the tanks, able to jump off and heal them with their, what do you call it, like welding gun, I suppose. Very, very effective tactic that we've seen be deployed last seasonal and has now been widely adopted by these kind of A and S tier teams. SCDB really on the back foot now though. Hill 5 over halfway capped, and what the hell, doing what they're known for, which is great coordinated area control play, nice offensive tactics, good flanking garrisons from House Gangster, but just a really good solid knowledge of the game, great push from them, good use of satchels, good use of those rockets that were still hassling that artillery for SCDB, and this is where it gets really tricky for SCDB. As what the hell takes another point. Hill 5 now under their control, and already if we look at their map, they're fairly well pushed through. And if we kind of check out both maps side by side, you can actually see that there's a bunch of SCDB players down here in G6 still, but there's even some in F column, and even as deep here with Candyman 4711 in E3. Whether they're going to try and come through Chapel and up this way, that's a long run. It's going to take a long time to get there. I don't know. They need to keep this strong front line going. They've kind of got pushed off Hill 5, which is really unfortunate for them because it is a fairly strong point for them, although it does sit, as you can see, in G column, so slightly closer to the German lines, as it were. But Red Roof House, this is where they don't want to be, because again, if they get forced back here to their HQ or even to the north or south HQ, they have that horrid run across the beach that makes it so difficult for them. And I'd imagine that we're going to see what the hell, looking for a pincer move here, staying strong at Hill 5 and getting a flank from the north and south. We see Oscar running up here into G column, but probably looking to move to H3. And down the bottom we've got Fruntan in Charlie squad moving around to Red Roof House as warplanes fly above us. SCDB need to get pushed out from Red Roof. They need to maintain a strong front line the whole way along the beach. They can't afford to probe too deeply towards Hill 5 and expose their flanks. They need everybody to go together, but that's easier said than done, because as you can see from the lie of the land here, very open for them. Only a sort of a certain number of places that they realistically can push, so they end up getting funneled, and that makes it really difficult for them. Back at Red Roof House is not where they wanted to be, and given the cap point setup at the start of the game, it seemed like maybe they wouldn't end up here, but here they are. And they've still got these tanks prowling around, what the hell, with some good tanking today. Shut the SCDB tanks down, really. Despite an okay start from SCDB, you know, they tried to get those artillery snipes. They sacrificed some tanks to snipe artillery, but they themselves got counter sniped. Look at those rockets. Strafing run now from what the hell, it seems. Oh, over the garrison in F6 that's currently red hot. That's literally just one person. I can tell you that is Born Free over in F6. Kind of out of position for SCDB, not going to lie, but taking out a garrison's never a bad thing. Werner Voss here. I told him I would absolutely 100% be focusing on his play, and comes up against German XX and Sunny in the ditch here. Werner, for those of you who don't know, is instrumental in the organisation of Squad Line Battle. If you type !SLB in the chat, it will tell you all about Squad Line Battle, but it's basically a place where people who are somewhat experienced at Hell Let Loose can come and play. Great Nay taking out both German and Sunny there. Come and play sort of like a public setup, but for people that know what they're doing. And Werner with shots on gates, it seems. Orbit must be able to be heard, but goes down. Werner's looking for him now, but doesn't realise he's dead already, as Pixel Smasher runs up behind Werner Voss. We'll leave him to it now. He hasn't got the curse of the commentator yet, so we'll leave him be before he dies. And that's a big kill here on that Panther tank, to at least buy a little bit of time and space. As we can see, a bit of a graveyard over here, and another tank destroyed on the slopes of Hill 5, and another one out here to the south of Hill 5. That was a 76, that last one we looked at, so an allied tank. So decent stuff here from both teams tanking wise. As you can see, the Germans though taking out tanks way back. Two AT guns, 3 AT guns destroyed here, I think. Yeah, this one's destroyed, one destroyed here, there's another one destroyed over this way. So SCDB really trying today with the AT strats, but kind of not being able to pull it off at the moment as rockets zip past our camera there. That was the sound you just heard. If you're curious about any of the commands for the chat, it's !commands, and that'll take you to a link where you can see all of them, and there are plenty. But the big ones are going to be !ECL, !HCA, !what the hell, !STDB, and !tip, of course. I do love a subscription, of course. It's really helpful to build the stream, and you get to access all of the perks of being a subscriber. But giving me the money straight up without having to give over 50% to Twitch, that's fine by me. And thanks to all the people who have done that, which is several at this point, which is kind of surprising to me. I really thought that people wouldn't go for that, but I really do appreciate it. It is a tip, it is non-refundable, it's not a donation, I'm not a charity. It's a tip, a gift, so I can't give it back, and I also ain't going to pay tax on it, you'll be pleased to know. Was it Wappa Jammer we were being told to look for earlier? I forget. Let's get involved here at Hill 5, because it looks like Novas and Werner are doing a gallant job here for SCDB, pushing up into the point. Nova's under some significant fire here as Werner runs up. Will he see Sven? Yes. They've got some danger here though with Sunny in the pillbox. Oh my god, this artillery. This is SCDB artillery, I would think. Orbit goes down to Novas. Sunny's in the bunker, the pillbox there. So called in British English because it kind of looks like a box that people used to get pills in back in the day. Dusentrieb shooting Novas up the arse, it looked like. Good stuff. Novas goes down, possibly already injured. We won't speculate. But good pushes here on this what the hell garrison from SCDB. They're not out of it yet, still 38 minutes in the game, plenty of time to come back. And this is what you can always expect from SCDB, and to be honest with you, this is the scenario last time when I casted these two teams playing against each other on Herkham Forest. It came down to a 4-1 situation, as it has now, with what the hell pushing SCDB right the way back to their final point. But SCDB did not give up, and I'm not sure if it ended as a 3-2 in the end. Maybe it was a 5-0 because they literally just went all out at the end, SCDB, to try and get the 3-2, and it didn't work out, but they sacrificed it all. You know, and this is who you're dealing with when you're playing against STDB. They're, you know, one of the top German teams, and plenty of top German teams, to be honest, in this whole league. You know, for all the German Hell Let Loose fans out there, probably pretty familiar with them already, but for those of you who aren't, do keep an eye on the Germans. They are a problem when it comes to Hell Let Loose. 2 or 3 of the top teams in the world are German speaking, but SCDB getting naded to pieces over here as Dusentrieb spawns in on the OP as it gets taken down by Orbit. Try and catch some more tank battles. It's a little bit difficult because they're just dying en masse. Great rockets still. Who is this firing these rockets? Is it... I can't see who the AT player is. Heard another one. House Gangster below us. Playing support, running with his box out. He's managed to get some more frames on his PC, you'll be pleased to know. Those of you who are following the escapades of House Gangster will know that top level, one of the best in the world comp strategists and players. As you can see from the redeploy instantly, he just doesn't even care, like puts down the supplies, redeploys immediately. Top strategic player, but has been playing with like 30 frames or less this entire time. Basically never shoots anybody. Throws smoke. When I started playing with him as a squad leader, he threw smokes and placed the OP and made flanks happen, and you know, given him such a amazing attunement to the fineries of this game and the strategy, that even without basically firing a shot in his entire Hell Let Loose career practically, although there must be some I'm sure, is really playing at the absolute elite level here with What the Hell, one of the... well, they're part of my top 5 I would think in the world. Let us know in the chat who you think your top 5 in the world would be. Very interesting the last couple of weekends, seeing what's been panning out in the HCA. Maybe that's affected your decisions on your top 5. It's certainly been playing on my mind. Not sure if Timtastic here is looking to fire a rocket into the point and take out the garrison, but going to struggle. You know, we mentioned earlier on that the rockets for the Germans kind of give them an advantage, and it's a bit perverse that they do really, because they're so difficult to aim if you're using them to fire at tanks. But you can see here that massive arc that they have. You know, if you're looking at a tank 200 meters away and you're trying to line it up on the fly and shoot them, they can be an absolute pain, because that parabola, that bullet drop is awful. But what it does mean is that it gives you this ability to fire them and have them land hundreds of meters away. And the Allied bazooka just does not have the same kind of arc. I don't think it even has as long of a range either. So the Germans with another kind of unfair advantage here when it comes to competitive in a way, because the Allies just can't do this. You're seeing lots of German teams be, you know, preferably selected when it comes to the ban phases in both this and HCA, and I suspect in the autumn seasonal when that kicks off in a couple of weeks' time. But really nice here from What the Hell. You know, we talked about SCDB needing to make this long front line, and they are doing that. We've got players all the way up in I3, all the way down to a garrison in I8. But What the Hell, they know the score. You know, look at these OPs, the garrisons literally forming a line along G and H and just waiting for flanks to come on. We've got Chronic going down south. I suspect we'll end up seeing House Gangster. This is probably House over here, or about to jump in this supply truck. We're going to see somebody getting the truck in and around, and going to be looking again to spawn in here. They have lost the garrison, What the Hell, that they had over in H8. I'm guessing that was Nagat squad over here. Olu, who we've seen playing a blinder all game for SCDB, a very good, a very experienced player, who we've seen quite a lot of throughout Hell Let Loose competitive. But you can see they're kind of trying to approach from the south primarily, or that's where the space is slightly opening up for them here, SCDB, through G and H. We've got Love and Fox squad with Candyman and Bofrost down here, although Bofrost goes down along with their OP down in G7. Not ideal, but really nice stuff. Good map control here from What the Hell. You love to see it, as the kids say. staying close to the hard cap. You can see at Hill 5 though, with the majority of their defenders, they know that probably their most vulnerable spot is where we saw the STDB people, oh dear, have some success previously, i.e. up this ditch straight into the point. That artillery though, that's devastating. Let's go and check the what the hell artillery again real quick while we take a look at the STDB map as well, just to keep an eye out for those tanks. I can see one, a heavy in I4. We'll try and keep an eye out for that. But over here at the what the hell artillery, nothing's going on at the moment. We've still got them under pressure from the 2 snipers, Underlux, who we've seen on Squad Line Battle, SLB, quite a number of times, or regular really. Corrigan as well, over here with the snipes, and takes out Frazzle before Frazzle can get back to the gun. And you know, sometimes the old ways are the best. Just shoot the guy on the artillery. If it works, it works. But it does mean that here Cliche is not able to be on attack with those flares, and we've seen what the hell absolutely spamming for flares throughout the whole game, with Star-Lord firing another one that's literally just faded away. 30 minutes left in it, and what the hell look pretty strong here. I think STDB have their work really cut out for themselves to get back into this one. I'm curious about their tanks. We've got, should have a medium tank here, yep, so 75 medium we've got here, the new medium tank for this update for the allies. We've got Amazing Ghost Kid and Raphael in that one. Kind of a weird tank, to be honest. It's got 18 smoke shells, which is a bit weird. The heavy, like 75, like the what do they call it? The jumbo, I think has like 8 smoke shells, which kind of makes it a bit redundant. It's not really the most used tank anyway, and giving that one 18 kind of makes it, that one use case, a little bit unlikely. But yeah, so we've got a 76 heavy here with Rosso and Timtastic pushing up. We've also got this other 76 that's moving along the beach here with Kaikona and Nanorisk. Been definitely struggling here to kind of get off the beach, these 76s, and it's very tempting for them obviously to try and take some of the high ground along the dunes that we can see stretched out from right to left here. But as soon as they get up there, they get spotted by those what the hell tanks. And just now there's only this medium, so a Panzer IV really in the game for what the hell, but there is another heavy moving up in F6. I suspect it's probably a Panther, but we'll go have a look and check it out. Yes, it is another Panther moving up. And you know, these Panthers have kind of changed the game. It used to be until fairly recently that the 76 was basically overpowered. Then they kind of rebalanced it against the Tiger, but now with the Panther coming back as a heavy tank, much more manoeuvrable, still got all the benefits of a heavy tank, like very decent armour, especially against rockets and anti-tank players, but with the extra speed and the extra kind of turning ability, the manoeuvrability to get in and around behind those 76s and into really difficult positions, it's kind of usurped the Tiger as the heavy tank of choice for the majority of tank players, although the Tiger still does have a use. It's not been made completely redundant like the 75 heavy, well, yeah, what is it? Yeah, it is 75 heavy. I think it's the jumbo. I get them all mixed up. I'm terrible with the tank names. That we were talking about a minute ago with the smoke shells. The Tiger does have that really strong front armour, so it is still kind of usable, and we do see it. But the Panther definitely taking the lead role now. That's another what the hell Panther over there with Sitch that we can see kind of smoking over there, and I'm curious to see, they might have spotted the 76 that's up on the dunes. That was a Stuka, and it's falling on the tank over on the dunes. Don't know if they took it out. I think they might have. It's landing just here. Yep, I don't see any tank here anymore. Unless they backed off in time, they might have. You can hear the Stuka kind of coming slightly before it gets to you. Look at this rip to the SCDB artillery. Good for them. They've kept back on the guns over and over, but against the accuracy of these what the hell rocket snipes, I take it all back. I was talking to House Gangster the other day about how, you know, I hadn't really seen too much success, as I mentioned earlier, with the rocket snipes on the artillery, but my goodness, what the hell, bringing them to bear today. Look, here's another deadly accurate shot. Nobody on that gun just now, but Jehovah spawning in to see an explosion with their name on it next. Logical Lee wondering what the heck to do at the moment. I'd imagine not a good position for SCDB to be in. They've done well to hold Red Roof House for even this long, to be quite honest with you, but for now they don't seem to be too close to getting inside Hill 5 with anything terribly effective. They just lost a couple players up there, but a couple players up there is really all they have, as we can see. Altimer and Laupet here in the ditch. You know, we talked before about how this ditch is really the best route of approach that the Allies do have into the point, and this is why what the hell is not getting cocky. They're leaving a lot of people back here to defend, and specifically from this kind of northern ditch area. Harris with the kill on Laupet. Altimer in the ditch. Curious George and Harris both on top. Don't know if that was a tank shot at artillery or if that was firing at something over here, but that was a satchel that just exploded. That might have been Laupet that put that one down. And what the hell kind of pushed a little bit off the point here by those two players moving up, but it's not really enough. They don't have the infantry and support to make it count too much. This is a what the hell tank below us, as I can hear. Sounds like a recon plane going over. Yes, it is a recon plane for the Allies on G column, and you can see right now that SCDB really kind of lacking any sort of red garrisons. They don't have much of an attack going on. They've got Olu here for Nagat. They've got Candyman in Fox Squad. Really, they're only kind of, well, they're only people really making any advances particularly. We've got Novas here in Able Squad who's trying to push up the ditch, but kind of a bit too far south of it, really. Laupet knows the score. We just saw Laupet running up, getting inside Hill 5, so still trying to push the ditch. Whether they can be successful with that, we'll see. Let's get back into the game here. Slightly different angle. So we are now here in G4, kind of looking over this garrison in the corner of G4 below us, down here by Torfisk. You can see just spawned in. And over onto Hill 5 and Red Roof House to our south. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. Thank you, Bubbles, for the condolences with the sound. It just is what it is at this point. Kind of used to Hell Let Loose or Streamlabs or whatever messing me about, but we do try and kind of keep the action going, at least get some coverage for you of the map, but I definitely prefer it now with the sound. I think it's worth restarting. Let me know what you think, but my personal opinion is that it is worth restarting, just so we can get some sound. I mean, it helps to alert us as to what the heck's going on, but it's a bit of a weird experience, I think, with no game audio. Just more what the hell flares. Every time we see a red flare, you know that that's the German flare, which is a bit strange. So the Germans, on their machine gun, for example, they have green tracers, and the US players or US machine guns have red tracers. But then when it comes to the flares, they're the other way around, with the green flares for the US and the red for the Germans. But it looks here like SCDB, you know, their main attack, and they're concentrating here on this ditch, and rightly so. This is the way in to the point for them, but it's not going easy. Das almost getting the satchel, but gets run over here hopefully we'll get some good stats for ECL in due course, and we'll be able to see how many people get run over as part of the Archon stats for the games that you'll be watching. Let me know as well, by the way, in chat if there is a game that you want me to raid in particular, because there are other games for ECL on at the moment, I believe, and we will be trying to raid somebody at the end of the match. Nice. Good stuff from SCDB to take out that what the hell tank. What the hell now with the Panzer IV only pushing the point, and you can see it was the 76. Was that yeah, that is a 76. I think took out the Panther, and we hopefully gonna, oops, whoa, that's what it looks like under the map, if you ever wondered. Excuse me, I forgot I have my no clip on from when we looked inside that bunker earlier. Panzer IV's seen the 76 now. Poo has come out. And now they're dead. Staring straight down the barrel of that heavy gun is not what you want as a Panzer IV. Literally the opposite of everything you ever hoped and dreamed for. And now, with a little bit less tank control, what the hell are going to need their infantry to hold strong here at Hill 5 as Wapajama, Juxta, see June up there. Check out June's show, The Ninth Circle, covering all things ECL as well over on YouTube. But really trying to jump over, but Kaiser there with the big takedown on the garrison as he gets taken down himself by this cheeky Panther over here. Disintrigue onto June. Got with the knife kill. Rip June. I've just hyped the show, but my god. Hopefully it goes better than the than the machine gunning. Wapajama with the kill there, but Disintrigue with some decent plays, and this is a bombing run now for what the hell that we can hear. Just looking to cut off the start of that push, it seems, from Red Roof House up this ditch, but they're not in time, and we see Chronic, we see Clink, we see Laupert, Bofrost all pushing into Hill 5. But what the hell, need to get a garrison up there quick. Wapajama can get it up, Kugu can get it up, Starlord even could get it up. But Novas, Johannes, they know it's come through on the squad chat that Disintrigue, I think it was Dis, wasn't it? Took out that garrison. My god, look at this tank support now, and this is what they needed here, SCDB, with a great push straight up the middle, sacrificing players on the way up the hill, but how many more can Juxta kill from this position in the bunker? Wapajama with the nades going out. Christian nades Wapajama. I suspect this is going to take them out, although maybe it got caught itself on the stupid invisible wall that lies at the middle of all of these bloody barbed wires. Absolute nightmare. I don't know why that's a thing in the game. Lazy game design, in my opinion. But Orbit with good kills, although dies to the nade. Wapajama still up inside the point. Still at least one OP up inside the point here. Juxta, Svin, June now spawned back in as well. And it's a lot of pushing going on here from SCDB, but not being able to get over the brow of that hill. And how much more steam do they have in this attack? Very, very difficult for them. So looking at their map, you can see their tank set up over in H column. You can see they've got Ludiger over here in H5 trying to get around maybe to take out that what the hell garrison over here in H4, but kind of not quite going deep enough, and actually now almost going the wrong way, although has heard them spawn and probably getting shots on, so gonna try and get around. But look at this. This has got House Gangster written all over it for what the hell in J7. Let's get back in the game, and all this time while SCDB is pushing up, knocking on the door of Hill 5, do they realise that there's actually an enemy garrison deep in their territory? They themselves have garrison in I8. They also have spawn points here in like H7 on the edge of the line. Where are they? I'm looking for blues. There they are. And it's Fruntan and Oscar, the squad leader, spawning in. Christian has seen them do it though. It's important that they take out Christian, who does go down. And because it's in a red column, this garrison has a 100 meter radius, invisible radius around it. And nobody can spawn if there's an enemy player within 100 meters of that. But right now, with Christian down, Logical Lee down as well, there's nobody in the way. And what the hell players can freely spawn in J7, and that could be an absolute nightmare. We see Jehovah now off of the artillery, been on artillery all game and having to push down towards this. Curious George and Oscar still alive here. Curious building the AT gun, incredible stuff here. With the remainder of the supplies, that'll be great to see if that gets put up. Love to see some shots go out here, but Jehovah might get around and be able to get a shot on Curious. Kills Curious, but in a gunfight now with Bush. Gone to ground in the landing craft. Jehovah's also going to be looking to spawn in again at that garrison, but it is hot now due to Christian running up on it. Bush is going to get one in the rear. Gets a shot up the arse. Slow to react. Goes down to Christian, who shoots that AT gun. Doesn't take out the spawn point though. Where actually is it? I hear it, but I don't see it. It's in the water somewhere. Oh, it's literally here. Christ, Jehovah's on it. Good stuff here from SCDB to take out. Don't want to speak too soon, but he's going to get it any second. It should be just 10 seconds to take it out, shouldn't it? Because it's in just one line deep. Maybe because it's in the HQ sector, it's longer, 30 seconds. But there it goes. Saw the cloud of smoke. But good stuff from SCDB to stop that. But it might have just been enough to hassle them enough to stop that push that they had going on Hill 5. And now still with the flare spans. Somebody says, how do you beat what the hell in chat? Samurai says, how do you beat what the hell? Ask 116. Pick the right team. That's my first advice. Right team, right map. Get lucky with the points. Kill House Gangster. Kill their artillery somehow. Kill their recon squad leaders. But very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to beat. What the hell? And they have been for years now one of the top teams in Hell Let Loose. Absolutely shining, of course, back in the 2021 full seasonal. Coming with the joint victory with Core. Playing well in spring seasonal, but not well enough. Started out their campaign in HCA now, as they would want. Although with one tricky loss to 116 that they'll be looking to make up for in the weeks to come. And now ECL starting off with a bang. 13 minutes left in the game. SCDB, if they're not capturing the middle point at Chapel within the final 2 minutes, then the game will go to what the hell. There's no overtime. This is warfare mode. There is no overtime. So they have to be capturing it within the final 2 minutes and have a clear run of capturing it, because otherwise it takes 2 minutes to capture the point and they won't have enough time. So if they're going to get there, they need to get there quick. But right now it's looking like what the hell are in a great position. They've got their tanks pushed up almost to Red Roof House. You see the tank below us. Star-Lord goes down after firing a couple flares, but that's absolutely fine. The more flares, the better. That was the recon plane for SCDB going diagonally. As you can see, highlighting that tank we were just looking at, which unfortunately we just missed it, but has actually gone down now. Good stuff from SCDB still, and this is the thing, you can never write them off. They're such a good team, and they will be, I'm sure of it, one of the top teams in Hell Let Loose for some time to come, SCDB, because they do play very well. Okay, they're struggling a little bit here, partly due to being allies, partly due to the power of what the hell, but big things is what I would say to expect from SCDB. In the previous seasonal, the spring seasonal, they started in the like the qualifier stages. They played all the way through, got right through the playoffs. So a great team to watch. And as I mentioned before, tons of those German teams, like really strong German teams to watch out for in this competition. You know, we saw Team Phoenix, PHX, do very well in the previous seasonal, although some of the players have kind of moved around. I know, for example, that Soul Ravo's gone over to DC. And SCDB now reduced to medium tanks, it seems. Getting shot in the front by Mevers on that AT gun. But they saw that and weren't happy with it. Jan Von is healing them up, as we've said before. This is kind of the meta now. Ghost Kid Amazing and Raphael drive the tank, while they have a, I'm not going to use the word, the common parlance for this tank support player, but basically a tank support player to back them up, who just goes with the tank all the time. They're not looking to get kills or whatever, they're just looking to help the tank to survive. Burner Boss again with the push. Big L, who we see a lot over in the seasonal and playing particularly well. Always, you've got to check Big L out all the time. Really want to watch. They know where to go with that frontal push, but this satchel, the sacrificial what the hell satchel, takes them out. And what the hell, with just under 10 minutes remaining in the game, are just looking to hold on to Hill 5. And what a good job they're doing of it. Let's have a look at both the maps together again, possibly for the last time at this stage, but heavy tank in H7 here for STDB. Still people trying to move in from the south. You've got Candyman still looking to get the flank on and push around. Somebody just died on O outpost by this AT gun. You know, they're still conscious that they have to keep a front line going, kind of keep strong in those areas. And when you see where they're being met in H3 by what the hell players over here in H5 as well, and all the way in fact down the map, and actually it's these areas down in kind of H7 and into G7, G8 where, you know, they aren't being met by resistance. That's where they're kind of having the most success, but there's still a ton of what the hell players in that area controlling the sector. You know, we got G and H, 5 and 6. These four squares are the sector, and so they're just looking to keep these SCDB players down in this other sector. Then they won't be providing capture power all the time when they're down here, but they are providing capture power all the while that they're here. And with Candyman moving around the back of the tank that we see cheekily nestled in the bush here, with Godfella covering Hill 5, we'll get back into the action. Oh, excuse me, looking at the wrong thing. Back into the action and have a little look at how SCDB are looking to get this last minute flank on. That tank is damaged. The Panther with Godfella in it is damaged. Reform Gamer and Euronymous looking to meet up. Starlord having a word in proxy chat maybe there. Is Candyman looking to get shots out? Maybe. Raphael, who we've seen in the tank, maybe looking to get the satchel, has died to this tank on a previous occasion and looking for some good old-fashioned sweet revenge. Going to get a kill on, who's that lying down, Euronymous. Doesn't get the kill. does alert them that he's there though, and gets shot in the back as he gets his satchel out. Very unfortunate. I don't know who killed him there. Attila maybe. That's an absolute bummer for Raphael, but good kill from Attila. Doing the work of a tank support player. It's not just healing. Candyman's going to kill Attila though, I suspect. Yep. As Yarrick moves up with access for what the hell to the flares. 6 and a bit left in the game. Realistically 4 and a bit before they have to start capturing the middle point, or they've lost it here. And STDB really running out of time. And Hill 5 absolutely stuffed to the gunnels here with what the hell players. Just blocking that frontal approach, firing those flares over and over, highlighting even a tank here in H6, but just trying their best to highlight the advancing infantry, get the heads up before they arrive. And I'm guessing this is SCDB smoke landing now on the point along with their artillery. Yes, blowing everybody up there as Werner runs up, and Werner had the opportunity, but the position was unfortunate out in the middle of the field. Probably went down to Sonny, I would think, or Harris. Bifors can move up, but without being a squad leader, unable to do much. Nova's here for SCDB, looking to get one of these final pushes going. Big L running again into that area where we saw them get satchel before, but it's probably more likely to be successful this time. However, in this area with the rocks, it's not ideal for them. This is a bombing run now for SCDB. Nice, lots of kills here on the point, but will it be enough to help them to push up? They do still have a heavy tank up just below us somewhere. Yep, literally here. That's the SCDB 76 for the Allies. There go those rockets again. Such a pain to be an artillery person. People complain about the artillery. Oh, it's OP. Oh, it kills everybody all the time. I think it's time for. I mean, it's always a difficulty being an artillery player, because you're literally such a target and you're just a sitting duck. And even when you spawn back in, you have to just give up on trying to kill anybody and just run straight to the RT, fire some more shells. You know, just accept that you're going to get shot in the side, and it's very jarring. And now with all these explosions going on, as Novas takes out the OP, Sonny's still there though, could turn around and kill Novas. That's a smoke. Novas down to Sonny in the ditch, but Sonny down to Underlux as they start to move in. 4 minutes left on the clock. They're not capturing Hill 5 yet, so they can't actually take both of these points. They simply don't have enough time, and it's so unfortunate, because this is kind of their best attack yet. I'm half expecting to see a whole bunch of what the hell players on the attack here, but it seems like SDB has basically just done enough to actually push what the hell off the point here. Just a little bit too late, because they'd need 2 minutes to capture Hill 5 and they need a following 2 to capture the chapel. They do have enough time here to start to take Hill 5, although it seems like everybody on SCDB's team just died then. But they do still technically have enough time to capture Hill 5 before the end of the game and make it a 3-2 instead of a 4-1. But the result is going to go to what the hell. It just is a question of by how much at this point. And a great game of area control, and a very modest game, I think, potentially off of the back of a loss here against 116. Well, not here on this map, but over on HCA. They lost against 116 last week. What the hell, you know, they had a decent win yesterday. That was a very dominant performance against 38 Infantry Division over on HCA as well. But you know, they will be aware that SCDB are not to be taken lightly. You know, they've played a very conservative game here and played it well, as we see the airhead falling for SCDB, looking, as we said, for that last minute push, but literally naded on impact with the ground here. And And the airhead is not to be for SCDB as they just throw people at the point. Good stuff from them too, you know, to stay in it for this long. With Red Roof House as your last point here, and that straight push from Hill 5. Very difficult one to defend, and they've done so gallantly. Especially with the artillery guys getting taken out every 15 seconds by rockets, and all of their tanks getting shot off the top of the dunes here. So another one getting shot out over there, and somebody else dying over on the rocket, to the rocket over on the artillery. But Logical Lee, the commander here for SCDB, will be, you know, they'll always know that What the Hell are going to be one of the top teams and very difficult to beat, and especially if they're playing the Axis here. But Logical Lee will be a bit annoyed that they lost the chapel when they did, because early on, if they'd taken a little bit more advantage of that amazing, do you remember they had that that garrison basically between Drowned Fields and Saint-Marie Approach, and if they effectively respawned everybody in like a heartbeat, they could have absolutely steamrolled that. And I think we have to call that tactic a trigger. They could have done a trigger and just leapfrogged everyone on their team. Look how many What the Hell players just died in the middle of that point. Oh my god, it is carnage, absolutely carnage as we enter the final minute. Someone says, oh, they're talking about the distance. Bearcore is talking about the distance for the rockets, and it seems like maybe the Panzerschreck is slightly more, a couple hundred meters longer than the bazooka. And it has that big long arc. 30 seconds left in the game. GG to everybody who played tonight. Thank you so much for joining me as well. What a fantastic game. Gonna end in that 4-1 to What the Hell. SCDB with gallant defence. I knew that was gonna happen. Good lord. Absolutely devastating stuff. The satchel as well in the last seconds on Hill 5, and absolute carnage here, but well played to What the Hell to come away with the victory here. We'll have a look at some of the scores. Hopefully not everybody will leave straight away, but do pause the stream. Chronic is the commander and Logical Lee the commander for SDDB. Look at these combat effectiveness scores, guys. Look how high some of these defensive scores are as well. You know, they just sat on the point. Ryan out here in the primary defensive position, just sitting on that point. 5,020 for the squad defensive effectiveness. I want to catch some of the tanks and have a look on the other side as well. But really well played from both teams, and you can expect, as I said before, SCDB and What the Hell, neither of them are going to be taking each other lightly. Very, very strong teams, very strong play from both of them. Definitely don't deserve all of that. I don't know what I did there. It's because I've rejoined so many times or something. How have I got combat points? Oh, it's for my squad. It's for my squad. I was like, what's going on? Yep, so I'll just scroll through, check out the tank scores, look at Sitch's tank over there, and on the other team, let's have a quick find of the tanks. So we've got Mer's tank squad, we've got Mackie's tank squad, we've got Raphael's tank squad as well, all just really kind of pushing. You can see primarily using the tanks defensively there from the numbers, but that could just be partly because they have to drive so far through defensive sectors to get back up. We saw Werner Voss and his squad playing very, very well. We saw Olu play really well. We saw Big L play really well, and that squad as everybody starts to leave here now. But yeah, really, really good stuff from both teams. That's me, stream map with no kills. But yeah, great stuff. You love to see it. So let's get back over to our studio, and all that really remains for me to say is, you know, a big thank you again to all of the players for putting on a great show for us tonight, to the organisers of ECL for putting on a whole bunch of great shows for us all over today and this evening, and you know, throughout the weeks to come, months to come. And thank you also to all of you for joining and watching, whether it's live or after the fact. Thank you to all the people who've supported. So really grateful for that, and yeah, what a good game. I knew it'd be a banger, so when I saw nobody was casting it, I was like, yep, all over that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did not disappoint. Neither of those teams disappointed today. And yeah, I stand corrected on
It would be cool
the
once it's
artillery
all done. Saturday.
rocketing.
That's really cool.
That was obviously terribly effective today, and yeah, quite a devastating tactic if you get your lineups correct. So well played to What the Hell there. Let's have a little look and see who we can raid at the end of the stream, and then I will get out your hair, bid you all a good evening and a pleasant week next week. You can catch me on Tuesday for Squad Line Battle. That's !SLB in the chat if you don't know about Squad Line Battle. Werner Voss, who we were just talking about, kind of runs it along with Dragster and S1 and a whole bunch of other really helpful people. And at the moment there's 2 servers, but there may well be 3 servers this week or in the very near future of people who come from all different communities all over the place. All you do is join as a squad. You just play like a public game. It's a password locked server. You have 10 minutes maybe at the start to talk with your other squad leaders and the commander about any strats, but it really comes down to squad coordination and effectively knowing how to play a good pub game. And we get some really great games week after week. I've kind of got a little thing going on server 2. Server 1 is where all the elite players play, but we cover all the kind of the less elite, the up-and-coming teams over on Server 2, and they always give us a great match. So do come over and check us out for that. And then on Friday, I'll be with Known Connection for the recapping.
Yeah.
We're going to cover all of the games from ECL and HCA that have been happening this weekend and have a look forward to next weekend. We've got clips, we've got polls, we've got a charity element to it as well, donating to Cancer Research UK. You can even do that right now if you want. If you just type in the chat !fight, then you can go straight over to the Cancer Research UK website and make a donation to them. If you only want to do a one-off, make sure you click one-off and not a monthly. I can't be held responsible if you sign up to a monthly thing that you don't want to do, but if you want to donate to them monthly, please do, because it's a really, really important cause. My next door neighbour right now is literally like, she's, I don't know, days, weeks, months left in her life, and they've been so good at helping her and providing the support, and they continue to really be a great organisation that's trying to fight cancer, because !fight cancer, because fuck cancer effectively. We haven't sworn all stream, but telling cancer to go stick it up its arse is definitely worth the cuss word. So I'll raid somebody now, but thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week, and good night. Goodbye.